This is a mathematical painting by Alana and Thomas. Our painting has a black background with a repeated white parabola curve on the bottom two corners. Half the paper is symmetrical and measured very carefully. The opposite side is more chaotic and is a messy reflection of the calculated and measured side. The idea of this painting was to make a side that had many sharp edges and that looked very exact. Then we reflected it more crazily and in the form of abstract art. The mathematical concepts that we used to complete this were layering, repetition, patterns, geometry, and shades. We used layering on the two hexagons where they overlap in the middle, as well as the chaotic side to show that it isn't organized and everything was thrown on top of each other. We used repetition on the pink and purple lines going horizontally through the entire painting. Repetition was also used in almost every aspect of the painting because we repeated most of the concepts on the opposite side of the paper. The pattern we used was the repeated parabola curve on all four corners of the painting. On the chaotic side, the parabola curve is wavy and partially covered up by the other parts of the image. The geometry we used was the two pink and purple hexagons. Finally, we used different shades of purple and pink to create the lines across the page. Something that inspired us was the video that we watched about viewing math from different perspectives.
Hi, I'm Matilda.
And I'm Max, and this is New York City Under the Stars.
Our initial idea was to capture the astronomy and math used in everyday life.
We did this by using geometrical shapes, layers, and tints in buildings and in the stars. Some mathematical concepts that we used were making an optical illusion by putting straight lines one by one to make it look like a curved line.
Another mathematical concept we used was making a grid-like painting to look like a checkerboard.
And finally, the last mathematical concept that we used was making an infinite box in the most bright building.
Some art concepts we used were layering. We used layering when creating flowers out of repeating ovals over and over. We also used layering to create the buildings.
We used tint when making the galaxy because we made purple lighter as it got closer to the moon and darker when it got farther away from the moon.
Our names are Enrico and Swan. We use the mathematical concepts of perfect symmetry, repetition, and geometric curves in this piece. The art concepts we used were gradients, layering, and hues.
Hi, I'm Gloria, and my partner is Fisher. Our mathematical concept is the rigid difference between triangles and circles, as circles are round and triangles have three sharp angles. We merge the two by making some of the triangles have rounded edges. We use layers, shown in our overlapping triangles, color, and gradients shown in our circles.
Hi, my name is Nina.
Hi, I'm Kapasine.
And this is our art project.
So at first we started with a completely different idea and we wanted to do a bouquet of flowers, and as you can see it's different now. Now we have the universe and a circle, and inside flowers with a ring around the circle.
We took inspiration from planets like Saturn and its rings, and we incorporated the flowers before. Let's talk more about the techniques we used in this piece. We used a lot of geometry because we have the middle of the piece is a circle, which kind of signifies a spherical planet, and we also have a lot of tessellation with the patterns of the splatter and the paint and the symmetry of the lines surrounding and all of the flowers. We also use tint and layering.
This is Millie's and Taylor's painting description. So I'm just gonna tell you about our full-on thing. So at the top we have a black background which represents the endless vast space, and at the bottom we have the bluish diluted paint which will represent the water. So this is basically just a world looking on to space. Okay, so on the bottom half, which is underneath the stars, we have created a water view. The water is made using various shades and tints of blue diluted paint to become lighter in color. In the water, there are many sea creatures made of different geometric shapes, like triangles, circles, squares, etc., etc. The sea creatures are made using hard and soft lines and overlined with Sharpie.
top half of the paper is supposed to represent space and other half water. To create space, we use different shades of gray and dark black. Over the top, we painted planets using different variations of color. It is impossible to draw a circle perfectly by hand. Our group decided to put a little twist on math and draw warped ones. Over the top of the planets, we layered different colors of paint to create rings. One of the rings we wrote numbers of pi. This planet is called Planet Pi.
I'll now give a quick description of the mathematical concepts of our painting. So, as you can see, on the bottom half, everything is made of geometrical shapes, so the sea creatures, and they're outlined with Sharpies just to accentuate the hard lines and the circular lines. On the top, you can see that all the planets are circular, and we wrote the digits of pi around one of the rings. And since pi is from a circle, it makes sense. So the elements that we used were pi, tints, hues, shades, layers, and geometrical elements.
In our painting, we used a lot of geometric shapes such as oval type things in the form of AirPods. We also used circles around the AirPods, and we overlapped the AirPods, and there were triangles inside the circle. We also used a lot of bright hues like yellow over red.
We used parallel lines when drawing the AirPods and also made the circumference of a circle with a stencil cut out of a circle. We used right triangles most of the time because in the circle stencil there were triangles that look like right triangles in this circle stencil.
The tree that we painted is actually a binary tree, the different branches correlating to the powers of 2. There being 2 branches, then 4 branches, then 8 branches, etc.
The tree is symmetric and includes lots of triangles and equilateral. The bunch of leaves are also made of parallel lines.
Hi, I'm Giovanna.
And I'm Marina.
And in our project, we decided to show math and geometry using the concept of nature and in a rainbow.
As you can see, in the rainbow we used many different kinds of shapes with all the different colors of the rainbow. Also for the tree we tried some shading, and it represents Mother Nature.
For the sun, we did a gradient that shows depth, perception, and maturity, and the math concept is that it is a circle which shows geometry.
Hello, I'm Anders.
And I'm Jack.
And we will be showing you our creation.
Our piece represents the mathematical concepts of geometry and symmetry. Our piece shows geometry in multiple different ways, including our use of the 2 quadrilateral squares and rhombuses, as well as the common geometric shape, the triangle.
This piece shows symmetry through multiple squares being shown, as well as triangles in the same manner.